They can hear us. The people have spoken, and the people can hear us.
I'm going to take off my headphones then. I'm taking them off.
It's low, but they can hear it.
Okay, we'll just turn it up. Turn it up!
Turn it up.
Turn it up. Sorry about the delays.
We had some technical difficulties.
Major ones. Not our fault. Beyond our
issues that
discretion.
men should be handling, not us. So the men took care of it, and here we are.
Oh my god. Real though.
Real.
Like I would not know what to do.
I would just stare at it and probably like hit it and kick the machine. Be like,
start like just
start
bazooka it. Like I'm sorry, I don't know what to
make
do.
it explode. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but they fixed it and we're all set to go. You ready? What's up? So first we're gonna start off again with media. We do it like this. We start in media res every time. Like we just start right into the action.
Yeah, also I feel like
don't expect a nice intro because we're not gonna give it to you.
I also like starting with music. I don't know why. It just kind of like makes sense. Because I feel like that's it's the central hub of like why we did this podcast, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you can go first though.
Okay. So for my music this week, the first song that I have, is Golden Day by Sparkle Horse. They're a band from the 90s, but they're fronted by this dude named Mark Linkus. And he is from Knoxville, Tennessee. But he grew up, or I think he lived with like his grandparents in like Virginia, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But he grew up like very working class type background. And he saw a lot of his family, like they were like miners and stuff, very much like rural, just like blue collar type people.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want that for himself, so he did a lot of other like side jobs, but he just kind of stuck to music to like, I don't know, give him like a reason to keep going, because he kind of just saw everyone around him like working themselves to the bone, and he was like, all right, maybe I want something a little bit more. But his life was really sad because he was just kind of always depressed, and he always gravitated towards like art and music. And he made really good music, and he tried to go out to LA for a little while when he was younger to kind of get a record deal, and it just didn't work out. Everything just kind of fell through, and so he moved back to Virginia, and when he was there he got into a Celtic band, which is like, you know, Irish traditional.
Okay.
And he kind of just was reinvigorated with like art and music, and he was in love with it. And after that happened, he was like, you know, I don't care. I'm just gonna keep making music because this is what I love. It's what's keeping me alive. And then he got out of nowhere a deal with Capitol Records, who surprisingly in the 90s would sign like a lot of like indie bands, even though now it's just, I would say, mostly like pop and rap, which is, I mean, that's fine, but they kind of took a lot of risks at that time, which I think is really cool.
So they're like alternative,
yeah,
indie.
I think
category?
they signed like Nirvana, Radiohead, like a bunch of really cool, but like even like smaller artists that weren't that profitable. So he started making music, and it started to become kind of successful. And off his debut album, Radiohead, Tom York listened to it and then like called Capitol Records and was like, can we get these people to open up for us? And then they kind of started a relationship to that.
That's a dope name, Sparkle
Horse.
Like,
at first
come
I was
on.
Like, what a goofy little name.
That's hard.
Like
Sparkle Horse.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you naming it that? But their music is pretty like mellow and sad. But the song that I'm recommending is called Gold Day. It's really sad.
Are we surprised? You only listen to sad music.
I tried doing
like,
happy music this week, but I just had to put one in for I can't betray myself.
You gotta stick to your roots, you know.
I'm a sad girl.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Sad girl.
No, none of that.
Anyways, he killed himself. This is not funny. He killed himself in 2010. I didn't know how to bring that up, but caution warning. I don't know. I'm not gonna go into depth, but his death was really tragic, and yeah, it was after one of his friends had passed away from the same thing. So he was going through a divorce, and it was just very abrupt. He didn't even leave like a letter or anything. It was just kind of like spur of the moment, and he did it. And it's really sad, but he left behind a lot of great music and inspired a lot of people.
It's awesome.
Yeah. My next song is Perfidia by Phyllis Dillon. There's not a lot known about her, and I mentioned her last week and I recommended one of her other songs. But this song, Perfidia, is really happy and upbeat, and it's her most popular song. It's one of those songs that I just play and I'm like, you know, life is so beautiful, and I'm like, I love everyone and everything.
All your problems seem to fade away.
It's one of those like old songs that I like. I think we talked about this last week where I was like, I only like happy old songs. I don't like new happy songs.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems more genuine.
I get you.
Just an amazing song. Check it out. Next song is Green Hill by Strawberry Machine. They're a Japanese band.
You showed me this one, right?
Yeah.
I love this song.
Or I think it was this song and then maybe their other song. I think it's called like Cake or something. I don't know.
It's really endearing. Like, it's so soft and like, I don't know.
It's just a good song. It's a sweet, good song. Yeah. Very, very agreeable. But the thing about this band, it's fronted by a girl, and she made 3 albums with it's kind of like a collaboration album, the electronic aspects of the song, but not a lot is known about her. Like if you look up her name or you look up Strawberry Machine, Japanese band, like there's not a lot on her, but also they're not that popular, so it like makes sense. I'd probably have to like look it up in like Japanese writing to even find anything on the internet, but I wish more I wish more underground music about women, like the history behind the women themselves was more known. Even with Phyllis Dillon, there's like nothing on the internet about her. Just like a Wikipedia page, but it's like so sparse.
Yeah.
Shout out to women. The next song that I have is called The Way I Feel Inside by the Zombies. It's one of their more popular songs.
Are these the guys that sing Time of the Season?
I don't know. I don't listen to them like that. But you know what they do sing? They sing Summertime, which is a song that Sublime... you know the song Summertime by Sublime? They took like reference from this song by the Zombies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When are the Zombies? Where are they from?
Like the
what
60s, kind of like during the Beatles, like kind of like Sgt. Pepper times. They were active during that. Actually, it's their story's so interesting because
they do sing Time of the Season. Sorry, I just had to.
I don't know that song at all. I only listen to like maybe three of their songs. I'll peep it. Well, anyways, they reached success with their first album, and then they moved to America, and essentially they just like flopped afterwards. Like, and everyone was like, "Well, you're like, you know, your first album was pretty good. You guys were kind of popping, but nothing else is sticking. So like, we're not going to take a chance on you because you're not like an indie band that like we have yet to uncover the gems. You're like." You had potential, you're just not reaching it, and that's why we're not gonna. I know, and then but they're like the Zombies. I feel like they're
pretty well known.
They're pretty well known. Yeah. They're always in like top 200 albums of all time and like Rolling Stones and stuff, and yet they struggled so much as artists in that.
I feel like they're up there with like the Beatles and like old head bands like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of surprising.
Beach Boys, Beatles, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's that old man music. But it's like historical. Is it good? Debatable. Historical? Yes.
There's some songs I'm like, oh, I hate this. But this song in particular, The Way I Feel Inside, is like really good. It's like slow and cute. It's like, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last song is called Benga One Solo by Rebecca Pan. Sorry, I'm gonna drink some water. So the song is originally by this dude named Gisang Marto Hartono. And he's from Indonesia, and during like Indonesian's independence he like wrote a bunch of music, and this is one of the songs that kind of like is emblematic of those times. And what's so interesting is that during like Japanese occupation in World War II, the genre that this is called krokong. I'm probably like mispronouncing it, like butchering it, but
go you.
That's what it's called. And a lot of Japanese soldiers that were like imperializing this area of Indonesia actually really enjoyed the music and like took it to Japan. So if you go to Japan now, there's like Krokong music that's like influenced by like sick. Indonesian, and then Indonesia I think was colonized by like Portugal or France, and then they like that kind of cross culture. That's why in this genre it's a lot of like European instruments and stuff.
That's cool.
So it's really just like, I don't know, it's so interesting learning about like the history of like how a genre emerges and how it's not separate from like the history of the country itself.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, like the way that like banda or mariachi is like polka music but like yassified. Oh my god, that's the best way to explain it. And the song came out in the Mood for Love by what's his name, War Kong Kai. In the Mood for Love, the movie came out in the movie.
Word.
That's it.
Word up.
My throat hurts. I'm sorry.
On to my choices. Honestly, only one of these songs is like newer. The rest are like songs I kind of forgot about or I've been like loving the past like couple weeks. So I just kind of picked from that. Nothing. I didn't go like with a certain theme. I feel like the last couple weeks I've had like a consistent theme with all the music, and right this week it's like all over the place. Mm-hmm. But starting off with The Cure, the song M. It's like on a 2001 album that I feel like no one really listens to. This is the only song I know off this album.
It's low key.
It's not sorry, not 2001 album. I was way off. It's from a 1980 album. 17 Seconds is the name of the album. Mm-hmm. It's like the white cover. No one listens to this one. Mm-hmm. Everyone listens to Disintegration, obviously. But I forgot how I heard about this song, and I just really liked it. And it's like, you know, classic Cure. It's kind of like more like Smiths-esque to it. It's like you want to dance to it. It's a little party song. It's cute. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go too into depth about The Cure. We all know who The Cure is. We all know like their influence, their impact. But I do love that song. So if you don't listen to that much of The Cure outside of the Disintegration album, I recommend this song. It's a little more poppy.
The Cure is for moms.
The Cure is for moms. Every mom loves The Cure.
Every mom loves The Cure.
Like at least like 2 Cure songs.
Yeah.
Including Friday I'm in Love. Like who does not love that song?
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on. How do you feel about The Cure? I feel like you never talk about them.
My mom really likes The Cure, and she doesn't like a lot of cool music. But this and like Kate Bush is one of the few artists that I'm like, that she likes a lot. That I'm like, yes, like I'm so glad she put me onto that early on.
Yeah.
And she like had CDs and all of that. Mm-hmm. So I love The Cure.
What is with Mexicans and The Cure?
Dude, it's a thing. That and the Smiths.
What is with Mexicans
Los Smiths.
Like, what is it? What is it about it?
I don't know.
How did it come to be?
But also, like, okay, I'm sorry. Mexicans like everything. Like, we are not homogenous. We are our own individuals.
We're tasteful.
We're diverse. Yeah. That's like saying, like, why do Mexicans like drinking or something? Or, like, why do Mexicans love Harry Styles, you know? It's like, okay, girl, everyone likes Harry Styles. Like, come on. We just love everything being about ourselves. We're like, wait, why did I peep that? And it's like, girl, bye.
Why am I Mexican liking normal stuff?
For real.
All right,
but The Cure, Mexicans do love The Cure.
Mexicans do love The Cure. Like, come on now.
And the Smiths, yep.
My next song is, I'm sorry, I cannot like pronounce this because it's such a long word. Millenary?
Yeah, that sounds right.
When I was typing this out on the doc, I was like, I don't know if I'm spelling this right, but that's how it's spelled. But it's by the Cocteau Twins. I love the Cocteau Twins. One thing about me, I love the Cocteau Twins. I feel like it was like always one of those bands I like always knew about but never got into them until like unfortunately the more and more I was on TikTok, the more and more I got into like shoegazy,
Who cares?
Obscure music like that.
Like there's people that will listen to that and be like, I don't like this kind of music, and won't even give it the chance. So the fact that you even heard it and you're like, wait, this like resonates with me.
Yeah.
You know, someone puts you onto everything. It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. But I really like the feel to their music is like, it's so like dreamy. It's like dream pop, and like you feel like you're floating when you're listening to them. You feel like you're walking on clouds. Like that's how I feel when I listen to Cocteau Twins. It's like I don't have to know what they're even saying, because most of the time they don't even speak English, or like they don't even speak language. They just say gibberish, but it sounds beautiful with like.
Was it you that we were getting into a debate about what language they spoke in?
Yeah, and I think you had.
I was like, no, it's French. They literally speak
it's like
French,
multiple languages.
It's multiple language,
including gibberish. Nothing. Like it's absolutely, they're saying a lot without saying anything.
That's kind of awesome though.
And they're from Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah, I thought they were Irish, but they're from Scotland.
I think everyone's Irish. So.
Yeah.
If you're not English, but you're from like that part of the world,
then I'm assuming you're Irish.
You're Irish. You're Celtic. You're cool.
But I guess like they weren't like super super big until Heaven or Las Vegas came out, which was in the 90s. But before that, it's like, oh, people kind of knew about them, whatever. And then that song came out and they blew up.
And now they're like,
because now they're like pretty well known now. Yeah. But I feel like in the 90s, like when shoegaze was like super popular, was like My Bloody Valentine and like all that stuff. Like that's when they were really like getting their name out there. But yeah, there's just something about them, like, and honestly, a lot of their music, like, kind of all sounds the same. Like, if you listen to, like, their last 3 albums, kind of all sounds the same, but it's just so beautiful. Yeah. It's just so good.
It's like King Cruel. It's like everything kind of sounds the same, but it's, like, so perfect. It's like, well, don't change then. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how I feel about them.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, there wasn't much, like...
Munchies. Sorry. I saw the next.
There wasn't that much like information on them. It's like I think it's 3 of them in the band, and it's a girl or a woman on vocals, and then 2 guys. But they're so like synthy and like, I don't know. They're just so cool to me. I've always really liked them ever since the first time I heard them.
I know people overuse the word, but like ethereal, I feel like
they are very ethereal. I hate to use that word, but yes, they very much are. Yeah. My next song, 70s Street Munchies.
I need to peep this. Why
Amyl and the
not
Sniffers. Have I told you about Amyl and the Sniffers?
I feel like I know a song of theirs. What's a song that's popular of theirs?
They have
look it up.
their newest
keep
album.
Going. I'll peep it.
Their newest album got pretty poppin'.
Oh, so they're not old? They're like new?
No, they're newer, but they have like that old 70s punk feel to them, which is pretty. That's what's like super cool about them. But they're from Australia. They like came into the scene in like 2018. That's when they started like getting more like popular. But 2020 is when they really blew up because they had like their self-titled album that got a lot of attention, and I think like 1 or 2 tracks kind of floated around on TikTok for a minute. But I started listening to them in like 2019, and they're just really cool. Like, I think what gravitates me towards them is like just like her stage presence. Amyl, the vocalist name. No, I say Amyl. I don't know. Maybe it is Amyl. I don't know. I've always said Amyl, and I've heard other people say Amyl and the Sniffers.
Oh, okay, never mind. I
don't know. But dude, if you like watch their live performances, she is so sick. Like, she stage dives, like she is screaming, like she is punk, and she is just so cool. And she has like the coolest fits ever. She's got like a big like blonde mullet, and she's just so gritty looking. She's a scary woman. Like, she's tiny, but she's ripped. Like, she's got a 6-pack.
Oh, no
like,
way, that's
awesome. She is like so like cute, but also really scary at the same time. And she's just like, she's hardcore.
Dude,
she's so cool. But yeah, their music is very like gritty 70s punk, but like it's pretty witty. Like, their lyrics are pretty funny sometimes, and like they're just kind of like all over the place and kind of chaotic, but they're a super cool band. I was supposed to see them in SF last year, but that didn't work out, and I was pretty bummed about it. But I would definitely see them in concert, even though I don't really listen to their music as much anymore. I kind of started to again, and I'm like, damn, I would love to see them in concert because I know it'd be fun. They describe their music as like pub punk. Like pub garage punk. So it's just like, cool. I don't know, it makes you like want to get up and like go crazy, you know? It's not like how to describe, it's like, I guess like more pop punk. That's how I would describe it.
Okay, yeah, it's like fun.
Yeah, it's not like super like gritty, grimy, like
it's not like boy,
it's not boy punk music. It's like girl neutral music. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. And then this is the one new song.
Oh, Comfort to Me. I know that album.
Yeah, the album just came out like not that long ago.
2021, yeah.
Next song is By the Sea by a band called Blair, which my friend just showed me this band a couple days ago. And as soon as I heard them, I was like, they sound like an old grungy like indie band. Come to find out, they're like a newer upcoming band from New York. And they just recently came off tour with Turnstile. So they're pretty new. And they're like a small collective. But they're really cool. I feel like they're kind of like Midwest emo type music almost. But like not in an obnoxious way. It's like Title Fight, but if Title Fight was cool. Like, that's how I would describe them. Yeah, they're really cool. They have more of a soft indie feel to them. It's kind of like nice background music. Like you don't really have to like listen to the lyrics to like feel it. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just cute and simple. It gets kind of like a little more hardcore at points, but I think they're really cool. I've only heard like 4 songs of theirs, but I really like them a lot. I'd recommend them. Yeah. And then last song is a Duster song.
Oh, right. Of course it is.
But let me warn you, it's not a sad Duster song. It's a somewhat happy. Well, it's just a little more upbeat.
Is that possible?
It's like one of their only upbeat songs.
Like I always tell people that. I'm like, no. They're like, King Cruel, he only makes sad music. I'm like, no. You haven't heard this song.
You gotta listen. And then they're like, damn, this is still
the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
But it's like, well, this is the least sad song they have out of all their sad songs. That's how I feel about this one.
Yeah.
But dude, I feel like even though Duster's been around for a minute, which I also didn't know. I didn't know they've been around since like the 90s or like late 80s. I was like, what? This sounds like something that'd be made now. Like I feel like they're pretty ahead of their time.
They're like with the times.
They're very much with the times, but they're just like so ominous and depressing. Like that's how they sound. Like I feel like when I listen to Duster, I just want to like crawl in my bed, turn off all the lights, and just stay in bed forever. Like that's how their music.
Them is like. I feel like all of their songs feel the way that No Surprises by Radiohead feels like. If that makes sense for me.
But a little darker.
Constellations. Oh.
Duster's a little darker, but not that like. It's not like scary sad. It's like I feel like empty inside, kind of sad. But their sound is also like soft and sweet at the same time.
But it's like good music.
It's
like,
good
hey,
music.
yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I don't know. I just really like their sound, and I feel like they're a huge influence for like a lot of like garage band indie stuff that's like popping now for sure. But
I have a lot of sons.
A lot
These
of sons.
bands is they sons.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, I was pretty bummed that we didn't see them.
Dude,
because when we saw that they were performing, we were like, "Oh my god, Duster!"
Joss had a shift, so we couldn't go.
Yeah, we couldn't go. Otherwise, we would have been there. We probably would have been like, I don't know. We probably would have been like, oh, pulling up, like, oh, we're the only ones that know of Duster, like at our age, and it would have been like all hipsters, like all TikTok looking ass people.
It's like people, Whole Foods patrons.
There'd probably be some old people too, like older dudes or like older fools. Cause I don't know, I didn't even know Duster existed until I got TikTok, and I was like, what is that sad music playing? I need to find out immediately what this is.
What is it? Give it to me. Yeah.
And then I just saw like so many Twitter memes, like so many Twitter memes about Duster. Like, oh,
I just know it's like
it's boy manipulator music.
For the boy. It's for the boys.
Yeah, it's for the boys. But yeah, those are my picks. Nothing crazy, but it's like comfort music, I guess. Stuff that I'm always drawn to go back to.
Yeah, I was just like, all the music that I put was like new music that I've been listening to. That I'm like, oh, you know those songs that you have that you put in your likes and you just kind of like always listen to those?
Yeah.
Those are the ones I brought to the table this week. I'm like,
word.
What have I been addicted to? Round number 2, movies.
You can go first.
My first, or the movie that I want to recommend this week is called Reality by Matteo Garrone. It's an Italian movie. Yes, I watched like.
Oh, we get it. You're a film major. Oh my god, movies. Italian new realism. No, go on.
It's okay. This movie. No one that I know likes this movie or has watched it. Even like the cool people that I know that like love whatever cinema.
Film bros,
yes. I'm so surprised because the plot is so interesting. So it's essentially about this guy. He's like this family man. He's kind of like the uncle that's like funny and outgoing and everyone kind of just like loves him. You know, he's like that deal, you know. What did you say?
I said me. Go on.
Okay. Yeah. Me. He's that like deal that everyone loves, right. Essentially. And he's like really, really funny. And one day they're at the family's at the mall with like a couple like extended family members because, you know, they're like tight and they go everywhere together.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of the little daughters, he has like a pair of twins, and they're like, Dad, they're having auditions for Big Brother. You know the show Big Brother?
Yeah.
So there's like an Italian version, and then the wife is like, oh, you should go audition for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he like goes to like the casting at the mall.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, come to the other casting. And he's like, wait, what? Like, I'm cool like that? Okay.
He's like, wait, I was just messing around.
He was like, I was just playing. He's like, I was just playing. But he ended up going to the second one. And I'm not going to, like, spoil it, because if I say any more, I'm going to spoil it. But, like, the gist of the movie is that it's him becoming, like, just completely entrenched in this idea that he wants to be on Celebrity Big Brother. But it's so interesting because you see his, like, it's kind of like a Icarus story where he flew a little too close to the sun, but you see his descent and his like downfall. It's a bit like Uncut Gems in that way. Like this dude who's like kind of like over enthusiastic and believes in himself like way more than he should
gets humbled.
Oh, but it's like his own doing. It's like, dude, you did this to yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll peep it.
And it's like funny, and it's one of those movies too that is so good, and the budget doesn't seem like too like massive. But I think that they were encouraged to like distribute it in a way that was like super appealing to like newer, young, kind of like everyone audiences, because when you watch the movie it's kind of like dark. So they kind of marketed it in a way, like if you look at the trailer, it looks kind of like a silly family kind of like comedy, but it's so much darker than that. And when you're watching the movie too, I feel like a lot of the visual techniques are kind of like, even like from the music that they use too, it's so like bad and like low quality, and the techniques are kind of like very like cliche. And it's like, how do you not realize how good of a like story you have, and how like well the acting is phenomenal in that too. I don't know if that's just like how it is for like all Italian actors, but like it's so good.
What's with Italians being good at acting?
Why are Italians good at acting? Let's unpack that right now.
We got 15 minutes to unpack that.
Well, yeah. Anyways, it's just like, it's a movie that doesn't realize how good it is, and it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah. It's a lower budget movie, you said?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What's your movie?
Well, I put 2, so I'll keep it short. I'll mention the second one first that I put, Funny Games, because you and I were just talking about this movie.
Oh my god.
Steph and I were talking about this movie on Halloween. I forgot how it got brought up. One of our friends came over and we were talking about horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
And one of us had mentioned Funny Games. And if you don't know about Funny Games, like, it was originally a French film, right? Yeah. And from what time era? Like, was it from like the 90s?
Maybe like the 90s, like 2001.
Yeah, and then they remade it in like the mid 2000s, which is when this one was from. I think like 2007, 2010, something like that. This movie's really messed up. This is one of the most traumatizing movies I've seen. I was telling Steph that I literally like trauma blocked this movie because I had watched it once and I haven't wanted to watch it ever again since. And that's pretty rare for me because like if I get disturbed by a movie, I'm like, nah, I'll watch it again. But
that's
this
the
one,
perfect
like,
word, though. It's so disturbing.
It's disturbing. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's only like maybe 2-3 movies that I could ever recall that ever disturbed me and made me extremely uncomfortable, because I feel like I have like a pretty good stomach for like horror movies, but it's just like psychologically disturbing and obviously visually. But like the plot of it being these 2 guys are just like these just psychotic murderers are like going to different families' houses, and they happen to stumble upon this super rich like go-getting family in like the suburbia area, and they're like, hey, like we're like willing to like help out with your yard or something, you know, like something super innocent. And the family's like, okay, sure, whatever, you guys look trustworthy. So they invite them in and they kind of get to know them, and then things get really sinister really quick. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say like the title kind of gives it away, like Funny Games. Like
they play games.
It's an ironic title for what goes on, and there's just like one specific scene that Steph and I were talking about that I will never get out of my brain. It is literally like ingrained, like burned into like the crevices of my brain. Like that scene is awful.
So much.
Let's just say it has to do with a child, and it's just it's. I can't even talk about it. Yeah, it's bad. But if you're into that kind of stuff, if you want to see a really spooky movie, go ahead and watch that one.
Michael Haneke. And it's like a diss on like the desensitization of like
of violence.
Yeah.
Which is like a really cool take, because it's like, okay, yeah, you have this like terribly
grotesque,
like
kind of
grotesque film, but it's like, all right, there's a reason why it's to this extent, you know. And then you read about it, it's like, wow, okay, that's like kind of amazing, like why they chose to do it that way.
Yeah.
Kind of a genius movie, but I don't think I'll ever watch it again for that reason.
It's the kind of movie like, you know how like Mormons, when they like leave the church and they're like in the world and they're like, hey, what's like popular culture? You have to show them that, and they will become acclimated after that. Oh, you want to know about popular culture? Let me show you.
Let me show you funny games.
Let me show you funny games.
This is how the real world is.
Back to the real world. That Paramore song.
Oh my god.
Ow.
So my second movie is Super Dark Times, which I watched it for the second time yesterday. That movie is also really messed up because
Katana.
it's just like extremely like realistic, but also not, because it has to do with like a high school kid really like reaching his like boiling point and like going actually insane and like killing other kids of his school, which is like honestly isn't too far out there. Like I feel like that could easily happen, you know, unfortunately, especially with like the amount of school shootings and like mental health now, like all of that. So it is kind of scary in that way. It's like, wow, something like this can actually happen. But what I like about this movie is that, like, although it's again disturbing, it just shows you the reality of like putting kids in like life and death situations and seeing how they would handle it. And this movie like realistically shows how high schoolers would handle this kind of situation. And it's just like you could feel their emotions. It's like, damn, if I was in that situation, I'd probably do that too. It's not one of those movies where it's like corny or like that would never happen.
But it has a supernatural element to it, does it? Or am I mistaken?
It has a slight supernatural element, but it's more of like, it's just letting you in like on his brain processing what's going on.
Okay, maybe never mind.
There's like one scene where it's like, what was that? But
maybe I'm thinking of that one.
Yeah, but that movie is really good. It's messed up. Yeah. It makes you really sad, but also like kind of scared for your life.
I thought it was like a really good like accurate depiction of like high school nowadays. Yeah, especially like it seemed like it was like in the Midwest or something. I'm sure that's what it's like. It seemed very accurate to my experience.
Yeah, to give it
like normal, dude. High school's not that crazy.
A brief synopsis of it would be like, so it's a group of like high school, like probably like freshmen, and then one of their friends gets killed by one of the other friends, and they have to like deal with that, and then trying to hide it, figuring out whether they should hide it, who should they tell, who should they not tell.
And then people spiral as a result.
And then people are spiraling, and it's just a whole mess. But it's like, it's just a very overwhelming movie, and it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. And even the way it's shot, it's like super like dingy. Yeah. Like all the lighting is like blue and like black, and it's just like feels very cold the whole time.
I feel like it relates a lot because I've seen this movie. It kind of reminds me of reality. I love movies that are like that. I think we both like that, where like something like really kind of like absurd happens that you're like, this situation is so weird, and then it kind of puts a character in a position where you would never even imagine to be in, you know?
Yeah. It's like, why is this happening to me right now?
But you're forced to see how it plays out. There's something so interesting about that, and enticing. Yeah.
And I found about that movie through TikTok, and I'm not guilty of it. I don't care. I'm not ashamed.
Oh, I found it through my own research.
Whatever. Okay,
and,
whatever.
It was also on like the top Netflix movies.
Yeah, it was always recommended on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
It's one of the few good movies on Netflix. IMO. Netflix is bad movies.
Sorry. All right, let's move on to pop culture for our last 10 minutes.
Pop culture. Or do you want to do the TV show recommendation? We could do that really quick. Just say what it is.
Oh, yeah. We don't have to talk about the shows because I feel like most people will know what these shows are about or already know of them.
Mine is Trailer Park Boys. Super funny. My brother put me on. Biggest boy show ever. And every time I talk to a boy, they're like,
that show is awful.
Then, oh, you don't like it?
I'm just kidding. Okay. I don't think it's awful. It's not my cup of tea, though. I've tried. Believe me, I've tried.
It's too boy.
It's very boy. It reminds me of like King of the Hill, and I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I love you, but I'm sorry. I don't hate it though.
New York, I love you.
I tried it.
Bringing me down.
On the other hand, my show, the Eric Andre show.
Girl, another boy show. Dude,
why are we giving boy shows?
Speaking of the Eric Andre show, I have a friend. Okay, so like I forgot what year this was, but he threw a big party and just was an open invite in LA. Did you ever hear about that?
Was Eric Andre there?
Yeah. I mean, he was throwing the party. He was hosting. It was like a crazy party, and he just like was like, anyone could pull up. I don't care. We're not checking IDs.
Dude,
it was like
should have been there.
Dude, we were like probably like 16, but my friend went to it.
That is insane.
He looks like he's like 40, and he never gets carded. But my friend went to that.
That's
but I just wanted to bring
insane.
that up because I
shout out to the friend who partied with Eric Andre.
Dude,
that is
like
insane.
crazy.
Imagine going to a party and seeing Eric Andre. Like, what would you even do? Like, what would
He's
you do?
one of the few celebrities that I don't care. I'm gonna bother you. I don't care if you're with your dying grandmother. She's in hospice. Oh, if I see you in the hallway, I'm gonna say what's up.
No, it's true though. I'm gonna say what's up, and I'm gonna ask for a selfie. I'm gonna ask for a wide angle selfie from up top.
Yeah, I'm like,
so we look
wait,
tiny.
no, I'm gonna ask for a silly one.
I'm gonna ask for a silly little selfie with Eric Andre.
You know when they're like, okay, let's take a picture. All right, let's take a silly one. I'm gonna do that. Minimum 2 pics.
Yeah, those are our shows though. Those are boy shows. They're really funny boy shows though.
We're literally boys.
Why are we boys?
Pop culture.
Pop culture. My first. I'll say mine first because like it kind of makes sense for like the weekend that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line on age and costumes? Like, how old is too old for costumes? Like, where's the line between weird and funny or cute, you know?
I saw a tweet on Twitter the other day that said that it was explaining to people, and I thought this was a joke. It was like a thread on if you see someone that's a teenager trick-or-treating. And I was like, this is a joke, right? Like, what's wrong with the teenager trick-or-treating? And it was like a whole thread on reasons why. I swear to God, I went trick-or-treating in my senior year of high school by myself. Because I was like, oh, it's Halloween. I'm going to go trick-or-treating.
Wait, I love you for that.
I didn't know. And the ladies, the first lady up in the door, she was like, oh, like, who are you with? I was like, like, what? Like, no, I'm, like, I want candy. It's Halloween. Like, what do you mean? Who am I with?
Yeah, like you're crazy or
like,
something.
I'm the bad. Like, what?
Like, why are you not giving me candy? I pulled up in a costume. You're not gonna give me candy? Like,
I made the costume. I think I was some like Studio Ghibli character, but who cares?
Why are you so awesome? I love you.
No, my costumes. I need to show you. Do not play. That one girl that does not play about her costumes.
That is you.
That is me.
Especially when they're homemade. That's so awesome.
I didn't know. And in my junior year, I went with my friend Kiana and Caricia. God bless them. I was like, let's go trick or treating, and they were like, I don't know. Like, we're kind of like, okay. Like, they were like, yeah,
we need to get to the.
I did, and it was awesome. I didn't know you were not supposed to until like. The ladies during my senior year, the ladies were like, dude, I think you're a little bit too old. Like, everyone was telling me that, and I was like,
oh my God.
No, but in my head I was like, wait, maybe I am. I don't know. I didn't know that you were supposed to.
No, you know what?
And I would have done it.
That is so messed up. That is so messed up.
When I was 20, I would have done it if it wasn't for the pandy.
No, because like, why should it like? Okay, there is nothing wrong with doing that.
Okay, maybe asking for a trick-or-treat, that's weird. But like dressing up. No limit. Like, what? You can be like.
It's just candy. Person. Okay, here's the thing though, because I've done it where like I sit with my parents at the front door and we'll give like kids candy or whatever. Mm-hmm. If you're like an annoying teenager, then yeah, go shoo, get out of here, like scram, like get off my property.
Scum of the earth.
But if you're just like, you know, a bunch of kids just trying to have fun, like, okay, some candy, like, come on, you know.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Give them a Kit Kat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I guess it matters like where the intentions are and like I guess like how you approach it. Like if you're like ding dong ditching and then you ask for food, like, man, get out of here. And you're like 18, like get out of here, come on.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't know. I feel like adults that dress up, it depends what their costume is whether it's weird or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, it's like just genuine. It's like, oh, I'm gonna cosplay right now. Oof.
Yeah. But yeah.
What were you for Halloween? Let's let the people know.
I was a Girl Scout, but more specifically a Hurl Scout from the movie Whip It with my friends. Shout out to Abby, shout out to Dion, shout out to Melissa, shout out to Julie. We were the Hurl Scouts from Whip It.
They look so good.
And we were all on our roller skates, and it was so awesome. We went to the skate park.
It was so
and
awesome.
You were even cooler with your costume.
I was a boy. Any opportunity I have to be a boy, I will take
Explain in detail what your costume was.
Oh, sorry. If anyone hasn't seen it, I was the narrator from Fight Club.
And everyone knew it as soon as you pulled up in it.
Because it was so accurate. I do not play my costume. I'm sorry. I only get one chance to do it. Like, I'm going to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Also, like, I hate when people our age put each other down for dressing up. Like, oh, you dressed up. Like,
I wear it to school.
It's Halloween.
I wear it to school. I'm like,
come on.
Like, I know. I'm like, this is for me. This is not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to do it every year. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. It's awesome.
Scum of the earth.
Scum of the earth.
Can someone with health insurance ask their doctor what's wrong with me?
What's going on with
Every time I type on my computer, my arms give out and they're weak, and at night I have really intense chest pains that it makes me cry.
You should drink a Red Bull. That'll make you feel better. Always makes me feel better.
My chest would explode if I drink
your heart would literally jump out of your chest. It would
Maybe it's just like I just have really bad anxiety, and like that's what's getting to me. But like,
have you had that before though?
No, not where my arms give out. I'm scared. And I'm scared to call my mommy and tell her that I'm sick.
Me when I'm in college, I'm scared to tell my mom that there's something wrong with me in my health.
I just don't want to inconvenience anyone, but I should probably go to the
Wait,
hospital.
that's really real. Being afraid to tell your parents, like, any, like, health concerns that you have. You're like,
do not
they're gonna worry.
Yeah.
That's really real.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'll go away. It never does. Yeah, it'll brush off. I'll brush it off. I'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
Should I go to the hospital? Probably. Am I? Nah.
Nah.
Do I want to set up an appointment? Why, as an adult, is it scary to set up an appointment for anything?
I'm not going to do it.
Nope.
I'm not going to do it. And you ask me why my teeth are crooked. It's because, I have connects in TG. Like, I don't need to have these crooked ass teeth. Like, it's a choice.
We're going to pull up to the dentist that's in, like, the plaza of, like, a Little Caesars and a little, like, taqueria.
And it's not real Little Caesars. It's Little Caesars, you know, like something like
it's
that.
Spelled all bunk.
Yeah.
Yep. That's where we're getting our teeth fixed. Yep. That's where I get my veneers.
Yeah.
I have veneers.
At this point, I should just get all my teeth knocked out and put in veneers.
Yeah, honestly.
What else did I put? There's nothing greater in this world than a hearty, complete, balanced meal, cold ice, cup of water, and a cup of juice.
That is so true. There's nothing like having like a protein, some veggies, some greens, maybe some rice, some carbs, and then some ice cold water. Maybe a Sprite if I'm feeling.
Maybe, but there's also going to be a cup of water in front of me.
There's always going to be water.
Why are we boys? That's the last thing we're going to talk about.
We're also boys. Why are we boys? Explain to the people why we think we're boys.
Because we like things that like boys that are terrible like.
True. Wait, are you into video games at all?
I love Cuphead. Do you know what that is?
No.
Whenever I tell people that, they're like, that game's really hard. And I'm like,
exactly. You wouldn't understand. Built different.
Yeah, I'm like that. That's the only game I play. And I only play it because the graphics are really cool.
We are boys.
It's kind of like steampunky-esque.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you it later.
I would say like
Stardew Valley.
Like, I would say our sense of humor kind of makes us boyish, if that makes sense.
Sometimes
we're like, fart joke, hee hee ha ha.
Sometimes we'll be hanging out with guys and they'll, one time someone even told us, they were like, you guys make a lot of like inappropriate jokes, like compared to the guys I hang out with.
Yeah.
And we were like, what?
I'm like, yeah, because we're funny. Like, come on.
It's just funny. Like, body humor is so funny.
It is, and I don't care. I'll
like,
still do it.
Making fun of people in an endearing way that does not harm anyone, but it's just kind of like a silly
That's
observation.
what boys do.
It's so, yeah.
And
it's like, we make fun of, like, bad people, too.
Yes, we do not make fun of,
like, innocent people.
Innocent people. We don't make fun of people that don't deserve it,
like
or for no reason.
Yeah.
We make fun of people that deserve it.
Douchebags, yeah.
It's funny to bully a little bit.
Yeah.
We're just kidding. We don't bully people. We're just kidding. We would never do that. Ever.
Under any and all circumstances.
Period. Point blank. Period.
Sorry if the audio was bunk at any point. Someone texted me and said that it was static, but my phone's picking it up, so I don't care.
Yeah, everyone's texting me like, where y'all at? So
this will be on SoundCloud regardless if it got uploaded.
Yeah, we're gonna start uploading our stuff on SoundCloud, so that's super cool.
Hey yo, check us out on SoundCloud.
All right. Until next week, though.
I feel like this week was a little slow. We'll come back hard hitting.
We'll
it was
be
just
better
the technical
next week.
difficulties. They put a bump in the road.
We'll be better.
We'll be better for you.
We'll be back and better by next week. All right, guys.
Peace out.